Okay, everybody, we got a lot to cover here. I want to go through a lot of the types of equations that you need for this course. And once we're done this all, you will be able to solve anything, we hope. So let's start. The first thing you have to know how to do is how to eliminate a term. Now, terms are added or subtracted, so we can get rid of the term that is on the side with the variable. We want the variable to be by itself. So how do you get rid of, in the first equation here, how do you get rid of x minus 4? You're going to add 4 to both sides of the equation, giving you x equals 13. Hopefully that was pretty easy. The next one, we want to get rid of the 5, so we can subtract that on both sides. Now, you don't worry about the letter being on the other side of the equation. It's not going to be a problem. Next, how do you get rid of a coefficient that is multiplied by the letter? Well, how do you get rid of a multiplication? You divide both sides. In this case, I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Works out nicely. You can cancel those. You don't have to show the cancellation. It's always going to be 1x, or at least 1 times the variable. X is equal to 12. Now the next one has a fraction that's multiplied with the letter. Don't panic, but I'll just say don't try and divide either. Instead of dividing both sides, you're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the coefficient of the variable. They're going to cancel away, and you're going to be left with just x. And on the other side, you clean that up. You can cancel the 2 at the 6 or multiply tops and bottoms and then reduce at the end. All right, now that we've got the warmed up set, let's take the two-step equations. Here I'm going to have to do both things. First thing is, how do I isolate that variable 2x? Well, I'm first going to get rid of the negative 4 by adding to both sides. Do the simplification. How do I get rid of the 2 that's multiplied with the x? Well, you're just going to divide both sides by 2. X is equal to 6. AT is equal to 5x plus 10. So first goal, get rid of that plus 10 by subtracting 10. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Now we have the variable term isolated. To remove the 5, you divide both sides by 5 and simplify both sides by canceling, reducing, whatever you want to call it, simplifying it until you get x is equal to 14. Remember, you read it from the variable side. Here's another two-step, this time with a minus to bug you. All right. So first, get rid of that get the variable term by itself by getting rid of the positive 4. Be careful with negative signs, right? Integers. Now, when you divide both sides here, the coefficient is negative 3. So you're going to have to divide both sides by exactly that negative 3. And being careful to remember the rules for division. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So negative 78 divided by negative 3, positive 26. All right, here we go. Had to bring back the old fraction to bug you. So to get rid of the positive 2, we're going to take minus 2 on both sides. And variable by itself, or at least the variable term by itself, is equal to 6. How do you get rid of x divided by 5? Multiply by 5. That's the opposite operation. So on the left, you're going to get x. Right side, you're going to get 30. Another two-step equation this time. What do we get rid of first? That's right, the negative 2. So we're going to subtract that from both sides. Get the variable term isolated, equal to, now remember, you're subtracting, not dividing, 6. 2/3 x equals 6, multiplied by the reciprocal of the coefficient of the variable. 3/2. Cancellation like crazy here leaves us with 1x. On the right hand side, it's going to be 18 over 2, which is equal to 9. 6/5 k plus 2/3 equals 7/6. Okay, lots of fractions here. Now don't panic, but you got to remember how to add and subtract fractions. I'm going to subtract 2/3 from both sides because I want the 6/5 k by itself. On the right hand side though, you're going to have to do 7/6 minus 2/3. So let's remember how we do that. You have to get a common denominator. 2/3 becomes 4/6, and that equals to 3/6, which becomes a half. To get the k by itself, we multiply both sides by the reciprocal of the coefficient of the variable. Chop, chop, chop. Those guys disappear. On the other side, we're going to have 5 over 12. Nothing reduces there. Combining like terms. Okay, here we go. I got a couple of like terms on the same side, so I can simplify them by adding them together. And then I continue the usual, subtract 20 on both sides, divide 10 from both sides, and x is equal to 6. All right, the next complication, variables on both sides. What a rule is simply get rid of the smaller of the two variable terms. So in this case, the 4x, which means that I'm going to eliminate it on the right side. So I'm going to be left with just 122. When you simplify the left, 2x plus 12, got to get rid of the plus 12. And that's going to give me 110. Divide both sides by 2 to get the x by itself. X is equal to 55. Take a look at that, okay? We got variables on both sides. You eliminate the smaller of the two so that we can get the bigger exponent by itself. Deep breath. We have lots of expanding to do and then cleaning it up. So, distributive property, both sides. Got that clear? Now, simplify both sides. 10x minus 3x is 7x. 4x minus 9x is negative 5x. Which side are you going to get rid of the variable? That's right, negative 5x is the smaller one. So I'm going to add 5x to both sides to get rid of it on the right. Simplify. Now I need to get rid of the minus 12. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. 12x equals 60. Divide by the coefficient. 12 on both sides. Running out of room, but just enough space for the answer. So that one's probably the top level of difficulty required for secondary 1. Hopefully you guys are okay with that. Have a great algebraic journey, gentlemen.